the form element. All right. So moving forward, we'll talk about other values of this attribute. I will just replicate and comment this out. I would now make it as self. It is just like the previous one. Okay, if I say something and enter, now it opens to the current page itself. Okay, so these are the some of the ways to open this target. And finally, we have this get method, the method attribute. We'll see more on that. Okay, the target attribute specifies way to display the response received after submitting the form. So now the method attribute specifies the HTTP method to be used when submitting the form data. So let's understand more about this. So we have just seen the hands-on for the same basic form. All right. Now let's see this get and post comparisons. Your get is only limited to amount of data that can be sent because the data is sent in the header. Whereas post can have the large amount of data that can be sent because data is sent in the body. Okay. If you're wondering what is this first point differentiation, I would like to emphasize here about the one point on this. So if you notice here, let me go to the inspection area of this. This is developer console. If I say some content here, let's say I type again my name as a password. All right, now see the networks and put all. Say login. Look at this. This is my request. The rest all we can ignore. And look at my URL. If you see, it's the whatever the content, I would say the information I am specifying are passed as part of the request itself, and that's not a good thing. I mean, how much more the content can have? Okay, there will be a limit for this to have all this content in place. So we need to, if the request is having a lot of form fields, it's recommended to not send them in a get URL because anyone can see our URL and cause harm to us, because this is communicated over open-ended network. All right, because your server is sitting in some other place, you are browsing from some other place, so that primary difference comes in place here. Okay, so we need to be sure of that particular point. And the moment I modify the same request to post, okay, so then if I say blank, just have a look here, refresh, come down, clear this, come on, clear, Matthew, and the password, I would say login. If you notice, okay, I will make it as self to see the same example. Let me remove the target altogether. If you see here, it definitely might have failed, but if you see the headers, let me get it to the top and let me show you the content, how it takes it to the backend. Look at the payload. This is payload is the content whatever user has passed as the input arguments. Okay, so that's where these payloads are being present, and that is what you're seeing here. as username and password. These are not being sent from the in the URL itself. It's sent as a separate payload. That's why post is a very safe option. Cool. Yeah, let's get back. And that's the reason we prefer post. Going forward, so let me discuss this as a get. I'll come back to this discussion of get and post differences. Get request is not secured because the query string appender in the URL bar, because it's everyone can see that particular request in the outside world. Post request is secure because the data is not exposed in the URL bar. This the same point whatever just saw. A get request can often be bookmarked. Yes, right. For example, let's say I'm browsing some mobile phone in the Flipkart. All right. Then I want to share the same mobile to my friend. How can I do that? Let's say if I do not share the entire information with the filters and all, how can my friend view the phone whatever I'm sent him? That's the reason all the get request whatever we have are having a certain use case where they are very beneficial. Okay, and that's also one of the good way I would say as a necessity, because of such use cases wherein we want to share something to other person or bookmark something, the get would be more handy, whereas post can't achieve both the things for us. So it becomes extremely mandatory for us to get this job done. Okay, and about the post request, it can hardly be reachable. That means the post request is less efficient and used very less than get. Obviously, the get is used very often because let's consider as an example of maybe Twitter. How often you tweet, then how often you read. The frequency will be very less. Let's say if you write one tweet per day, you would be going through thousands of tweets one day, right? So the amount of read and write would be extremely less as compared to write. That's the reason post is used only for such write requests and get is used for such all read requests. That's the one example for to understand these concepts better. We have some more methods called as put, delete, and stuff. Those are having no very big use cases in the given example. All right, moving on. Now we'll be focusing on some of the input fields what we have in the forms. Okay, we do have some of the inputs. First field is the text field. What does a text field do? A text field is used to take the input from the user. Okay, so this control is used for item that requires one line of user input, such as the maybe a search boxes or maybe email field or whatever. Next up, we have this email field, and this email field basically is used to get the user information in terms of email address only. Let's say you provide us email field and you did not kind of comply to the rules, then it will not let your form to submit in first place. So for us, it becomes extremely mandatory to specify the field name as email. And next up, we have checked. And what is this checked is all about? This checked box, whatever we have, this can have multiple fields. This can vary from 0 to more choices. And then we have radio buttons. We will be seeing all these examples in detail. And then we also have a numeric field. For example, let's say age I have to enter. Okay. Then we can go ahead and use the number field. And then we have this file field. This is used to upload the file. And also we have the submit button. And finally, we have the range attribute. There are some of the attributes for this HTML form.